3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? It is Wednesday, August 19th. I just got back from the comic book store, and joining me as always is Stan the Man and Forky. That's a little bit of a lie. They're not always joining me, but in spirit they are, so I guess I kind of meant it truthfully. I got my In-N-Out double. Just got back from the greatest burger place on earth. Chilling at a local nearby church. My car's dirty as AF, and it is, got some Pokemon Go launching there. Got a Big Gulp, 49-cent Big Gulp, got a Superman mask. I love San Diego bag. I carry my stuff around when I go to the store. So let's see what's unboxed today. Oh, did they get it right? Last week they didn't get it right, and it was all smushed. But this week, look at that. It's like picture perfect burger. Look at that. And that's after a car ride. I can't wait to dive into this. Let's cover that sucker back up. I would say that I need to keep this warm, but it's hot AF out here today. So I was sitting in line at the drive-thru it's actually last week that I thought about this, and I forgot to say it in my video, but I was sitting in this week and reminded me, and this week the drive-thru was pretty tame. It was only about 10 cars in line, but last week it was, when I pulled up, I was about the 20th car. I was counting them to my best, within plus or minus one, but immediately before I even moved, 5 cars came in behind me before I even moved. 25 cars in the drive-thru. And they were shorthanded that day. Normally they got people outside helping you move the drive-thru lane. It really actually goes pretty fast. Normally I get there, I was like, 15 cars is usually about normal when I pull up, and I'm like, but you still get your food within like 10 minutes. They're really good. Anyways, I'm not here to do an In-N-Out commercial. What I was thinking about as I was winding in and out, no pun intended, because it the drive-thru kind of winds back and forth. They have to, they got the parking lot kind of cordoned off because it goes way past the drive-thru lane and into the local parking lot. And I was looking across the street, and there's a what was it? Is it Jack in the Box that's across the street, or Wendy's? It's Jack in the Box. Yeah. And I was looking across, and Jack in the Box, no cars in the drive-thru. I was like, wow. I get that In-N-Out's a lot better, right? But people still like their Jack in the Box, and there's things you can get at Jack in the Box you can't get at In-N-Out, right? You can get a teriyaki bowl, you can get tacos, you can get chicken nuggets, you can get all sorts of things you can't get at In-N-Out. In-N-Out's just burgers and fries. And of course, anyways, I'm getting off track. So I'm sitting there thinking about it, and for some reason the idea came into my mind of, there's going to be, you're going to probably hear cars going by. They've got a street right here. Show these two guys. So I got into my mind about this concept of gimmicks, and I was thinking about like how In-N-Out Burger's got this massive line, and people are just waiting in their cars, sitting in the hot summer heat to get these burgers. And that day it took me probably 20-25 minutes to get through that drive-thru line, because like I said, they were short-staffed and they didn't have a guy out there taking orders, so you had to wait till you got to the speed. It wasn't a nightmare, but it was more annoying than usual. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not used to it, so you're like, oh, it sucks. And then once you're in the line, you can't get out. So I was sitting there thinking about it, like, man, no one across the street really cares about going through Jack in the Box, but people will line up for days to get In-N-Out. And In-N-Out hasn't changed their menu, like, ever. That's not entirely true. They've done a few things like add hot cocoa I think they added lemonade one time years ago. Like a few, but as far as their food, burgers, fries, that's it. You can't get bacon on the burger. They haven't done any gimmicks like that. There's no special, we got special mozzarella burger. Nope, none of that. They haven't changed their fries. They have not messed with success. They've been around for over 80 years. They're actually California's first drive-through. They supersede McDonald's, if you believe it or not. So I was sitting there thinking, why is it that people are going to In-N-Out and not going to these other places? And I thought about Gimmicks, and I thought about how I'm a sucker for Gimmicks. I truly am. I'm the kind of guy who's like, oh, there's a new Mountain Dew flavor, gotta try it. Oh, there's new Doritos, gotta try it. And you think about a lot of these fast food places, Taco Bell comes to mind, or McDonald's, and they're constantly oh, try our new something, whatever special thing, monthly. And I thought about it, and I was like, that's what they have to do to get business, because their business sucks, right? This is what Jack in the Box has to do. Every month they've got, I think right now they're doing a Southwestern cheeseburger thing. And I eat Jack in the Box occasionally. I eat some of these places occasionally. I'm not necessarily against them. And it reminded me of the comic book industry. I was like, this is what's happened to the comic book industry. It used to be buying comics was, I would go and you'd have your comic that you love, and you would just buy it, and monthly it would just, like clockwork, it would come out, no frills, just a good solid product, month after month after month. You'd go to the comic book store, and for me it was comics like X-Men was my number one. That's what got me in. Iron Man, Thor. When Punisher finally came out with its own comic, I got it a Punisher. I'm trying to think of what other big comics I bought when I was a kid. I bought other ones, but not all of them lasted. Those are the big ones that stood out to me, and that's all I wanted. And then some crossover started to happen. X-Men kind of broke the seal for Marvel in that, where every summer there'd be an X-Men crossover. They did this because they had the New Mutants and X Factor, and there would be it's Fall of the Mutants, and it's Inferno, and then this and that, and then Marvel saw how popular that was and extended it to other books, and now we live in a day where Marvel can't survive without the gimmick. Literally every month there's an event going on, and in 2020 we're currently going through Empire right now. And there's already 5 events on the docket. Between that, then you've got Ten of Swords or X of Swords. Then you've got the King in Black, which is this winter. They announced this Rise of the Phoenix thing where everyone gets a Phoenix Force or whatever. It's there's another one out there that I'm probably not remembering. DC starting to jump on the bandwagon. It's got Joker War. It's currently got Joker War while we're doing Death Metal. Wow, did Year of the Villain even end? I don't remember it. That just kind of died out with a whimper. But you see my point? It's the comic books are doing the same thing as these food industries. They realize that people aren't interested in their lackluster product, so they're constantly giving, ooh, look at the new shiny thing. And since you want to like the product, right? I want to like Jack in the Box. When I was a kid growing up, I was, loved Jack. I was like, ooh, what's this new special burger thing they got going on? You want to try it out. In-N-Out, though, it's never needed it. You know why? Because they never let the quality subside. They've always done what Jim Shooter did with Marvel and just said, we are going to be quality. Just month in, month out, books on time, high quality, and we're going to build that reputation, and people are going to know Marvel Comics means the best comics. And it took them, 10 years, 11 years to reach that. But when Jim Shooter left, Marvel was on a trajectory for the stars. And it would be a couple years later that they would really kind of explode in the whole Image thing and what have you, and selling 8.8 million copies or whatever it was of the X-Men #1. that's I credit to Jim Shooter. I think Tom DeFalco might have actually been the EIC at the time, but he was just riding the wave. And then of course Bob Harris came in there at some point. I get the chronology mixed up, but you know he tried to exploit what Jim Shooter had built and forgot about quality and just said, "Oh, people like all this. Let's just make more and more and more." And then people are like, "This sucks. You guys aren't doing quality anymore." And then guess what happened a few years later? The comic industry bubble bursted. And so I don't know why I'm talking about this. Like I said, it was on my mind last week. And then after I did my video, I was like, dang, I really wanted to talk about that. And then I thought about talking when I should. And I was sitting in line again for my burger. And I was like, oh, I'll do that again. I'll talk about it again. So tell me what you think about those. Do you understand the analogy I'm trying to make? Am I just being weird? I'm going to go ahead and eat this burger now. And, I'm going to let you look at a box. Here we go. One last time. Let's peek. Burger porn. Oh, yeah. We're back. That burger was damn good, man. I tell you what. Eating that burger, it's like reading a Chris Claremont comic from back in the 80s, right? Those comics weren't always the best comic you ever read. But man, you always knew you were getting something really, good at the very least. And sometimes, like today, man, just hit it out of the park. Here's my receipt. As always, show your receipts. Trying to keep pull this budget in check because comics I'm struggling to find not the worth per se, but yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm saying. They're so expensive, and if they're not collectible, why are you spending so much? Is kind of my thing. I hear a lot of arguments, people talking about, comics, it's they just argue against the collectability of it. Like, oh, the comics are just going to go digital eventually. Just deal with it. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Collectability is what drives comics. That's why there is a direct market, because of collectability. Now, granted, not everyone who buys comics collects them. At least, but I'm guessing everyone that you're listening, tell me if I'm wrong. When you buy a comic, do you put it in a bag and board? You may not be a speculator. There's a difference between being a speculator and a collector. Like, all speculators are collectors, but not all collectors are speculators, if that makes sense. So I don't think that comics are going away or going the way of digital. I think that'll be the death knell of comics because they're just too expensive. And unfortunately, they have this idea of like, well, we can lower the price. Like DC's experimenting with their digital first, these 99-cent comics. The problem with that is digital sells less than physical, and you already can't sell enough physical to make money on a $4 price point. How are you going to make money, sell less at a $1 price point and make money? Plus, part of the reason I like collecting comics is I like going to the store. I got to talk to the owner today. He was in the shop. I talked to the staff that works there that I'm friends with. Really nice people. Just talking, sometimes we're talking about comics. Today we were talking about 49-cent big gulps. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, there's a thing about it. It's more than just reading, right? Comics aren't that way. At least I think to most people, right? Think about like books. Most people who like to read books, fiction, novels, they just buy a book and they read it and they enjoy it and they just like to do it. They don't do it necessarily because there's a huge community of book lovers and they're always talking about books and, oh my God, did you get the new so-and-so book? And yes, I know that there's book clubs. I've heard of them. But these are the exception to the rule, not the rule. Comics is the flip-flop. Most people who buy comics are like, oh, I got the newest show of so-and-so. Oh, I did. They're going to conventions. When was the last time you saw a novel convention, right? No, but comic convention. It's like, it's a whole subculture. Anyways, I've been blabbing on way too long. Let's get on with the comic haul. First comic of the day is Firepower #1. Now, some of you might be like, wait a second, Ash, you already covered this book. And you're right. But I picked up another copy for my buddy because I got him the Prelude book. If you remember, he fell in love with it. He's like, oh man, these books, did they come out? I was like, yeah, they came out like was it last week? I think it was last week before. And he wanted them. So I picked up Firepower 1 and Firepower 2. You're welcome, buddy. What was that? Okay, that's just a reflection of light. I was like, oh, the comic's damaged, but it's just a reflection of light. All right, so those are his books, I guess, but I bought them, so they go in my comic haul. Next, continuing in the indies, we got Die. Notice the name, Robert Kirkman. I now buy 3 Kirkman books out of my whole pull list. This is how good this guy is. Die is not for everyone, but it is for me. I love this series. It's absurdly violent. It's on purpose. This is a book that's action and violence, but taken to an absurd level. Also, politics, but not like real world politics. It's more of like the fictional, evil, blah ha ha, mustache twirling politicians type thing. So it's just going to be your miles may vary, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I love the book, and if you can appreciate absurdist black humor, you might as well. Then we've got Decorum. And Nalo, if you're listening, buddy, we need to talk about these books. I haven't read this yet. Obviously, I haven't even been home, but I just picked this up. Decorum is very interesting. It's just Hickman not writing dog shit like he is over at Marvel. Speaking of Marvel, I picked up Thor #6. Donny Cates, Nick Klein, Herald of None. This is a cool comic. Unfortunately, Donny Cates kind of has his own micro continuity because everything he's doing in his books don't seem to matter in the rest of Marvel, with the exception of Venom, which is weird because Venom, Marvel's building a whole gigantic event around the King in Black. I don't get it. This guy is running around right now fighting plant people in Empire, but then he's also fighting the Dark Winter, and which is it's a bigger deal. I don't get. It's like we're fighting a race of plant people, and that's a gigantic, earth-shattering event for Marvel. And this is versus the thing that destroyed the universe before the current Marvel universe, where Galactus came from. That's just a contained story in Thor, and it shows that good writers with big ideas don't need massive earth-shattering events to just tell fun, good stories. They can just do it in their book, and you can enjoy it. And this is what I promote. So I promote that you just enjoy that and stop buying this stupidity of Empire and all the massive crossovers and things like that. Stop doing like what I was talking about in the opener of this thing. Just go to In-N-Out. Get the solid, good quality. Don't get sucked into gimmick after gimmick, because it teaches the manufacturers or the producers or whatever that they don't need to earn your money through quality. They just need to earn your money through gimmicks and reboots and constantly, here's a new thing. And then you get it and you're like, okay, it's interesting, but not that interesting. I'll move on. And like, oh, well, we got something new. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll try the new thing. It's okay, I'll move on. No, just stay quality. Speaking of quality, we've got Justice League already with its, what is this, the 5th writer? Loveness. I don't know who this is. I don't even know if he's going to be the permanent writer. Justice League is a mess right now. I'm behind. I haven't even read the Spurrier stuff. I don't know if I'm going to keep getting this book. I wasn't even a Justice League guy until Scott Snyder kind of sold me on it, and I fell in love with it. And then I was going to get off, and then Venditti took over, and I was like, oh, Venditti is amazing. I'll stay with that. And then he left to pursue whatever new thing that DC gave him, and then they gave it to Simon Spurrier. And I haven't read that, but people said it sucks. And now we got this new guy, and I don't know what's going on. This cover Okay, Batman. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't. But this is potentially on the chopping block. And speaking of chopping block, Batman is not on it, thanks to Tom King being gone. Hashtag fuck Tom King. And this is Joker War Part 3. It's been fun. I've been reading. I am caught up with Batman and Detective Comics. I can kind of tell you that if you're interested in following Joker War, you only need to read at least from what I've experienced, you only need to read the ones that say Joker War and then part something. If you read one that says like Joker War Collateral Damage or Joker War something else, that will give you some tie-in story, but not necessary like plot stuff. So if you're just like, I want to see what goes on in this, but I don't want to commit. You don't need to. And that, kudos to DC. You know, I get they're going to put the big Joker War stamp on there to get to try to get everyone to buy it. But I'm here to tell you that if you want to be frugal about it and just get the core of the story, you absolutely can. You don't need a million spin-offs to follow what's going on. And that's the way you should do a crossover. I also like the fact that this is not being done with special Joker War miniseries, like Marvel would do. Marvel would have a special Joker War Batman, not just Batman in Joker War, but like Joker War Batman issue 1, Joker War, what did they do with Absolute Carnage? There were 10 different series of Absolute Carnage. 10! Not 10 issues. 10 series. And that's a joke. No pun intended. Or was it? All right, well, that's all I got today. I could fan these out, but this thing is precariously balanced. You tell me what the best is going to be. I guess we don't have to count firepower. Let's see. Doom. 5 issues. This is what a pull list should look like for me these days. I'm going to say, I'm going to say this is going to be the worst. And then the best, I'm hoping this is the best, because this feels like it's a smoldering, slow burn, like it's ready to erupt into a fire, but it hasn't quite yet. I'm hoping it's this. I kind of also hope this, because 5 was the worst issue so far. Not that any of them are bad, but I want to see this live up to some great potential. I don't know. I really don't know. These are all good books, except this is an unknown. So the only one I can't vouch for is this one. Hopefully you're getting good books. Let me know in the comments down below what your comic haul was. Tell me what you're thinking of dropping, what you're thinking about picking up. Just, share your thoughts. I love to read. I read everything that gets put in my comments. Join me on Discord if you want to talk more detail, or if you ever want to get on voice chats. It's open to anyone's friend of the channel. You can hit me up on Twitter. Ash1138 is my handle. Be aware that I'm a lot more political and contentious on Twitter. But, whatever. Thanks for watching this far. Thanks for putting up with all my nonsense, giving me something to talk about. This is part of my daily hobby of comics. I'm just some schmo in a car doing a video. But I get to enjoy good comics. I get to eat a good burger. And I get to talk to you guys. So that makes Wednesday worth it. Thanks for watching.